Hello and welcome back, Celtic fans. This is Celtic Central News, bringing you the latest updates straight from paradise, and what a weekend it has been. After that rather ordinary showing in Europe during the week, the boys bounced back in convincing fashion, putting together a dominant display that left no doubts about where things are heading domestically. Martin O'Neill's men delivered exactly what the supporters wanted to see: energy, control, and a reminder that even when the midweek form dips, this team still knows how to respond. It wasn't a match full of tension or uncertainty, more of a steady, commanding performance where Celtic took control early and never looked back. Right from the first whistle, it was clear that Kilmarnock were in trouble. Their defending in the opening minutes was absolutely dreadful, and Celtic didn't waste time punishing them for it. Real High-Tie burst through the middle, cut the ball back perfectly, and Johnny Kenny did what he's been doing so well lately, finding the back of the net for his fourth goal in as many matches under Martin O'Neill. That early strike set the tone, and honestly, from that moment on, the game felt over. Kilmarnock completely lost their belief, their structure fell apart, and Celtic controlled the tempo with minimal effort. Even when Kilmarnock managed a rare shot that clipped the bar and forced a decent save from Schmeichel, there was never any real sense of danger. O'Neill's side didn't even need to play at their absolute best to dominate. They were calm, efficient, and clinical when it mattered. You could sense that the players knew the job was done once that first goal went in. And when Keane smashed in a brilliant strike from outside the box to make it 2-0, it was game over. That finish brought back memories of his earlier goal against Kilmarnock years ago. Different moment, same precision. From there, it was all about control. The movement, the passing, and the composure were all levels above what the visitors could handle. Then came a touch of brilliance from Engels, who produced one of those trademark passes of his, the kind where he completely leans into the ball and slices through two defenders like a hot knife through butter. It was a stunning assist that found Daisen Maeda in stride, and the Japanese winger made no mistake, slotting it calmly under the goalkeeper. A keeper who, to be fair, had a nightmare of a match. Everything about his performance screamed inexperience and nerves. You could see the frustration in the Kilmarnock defenders' faces. They knew they were beaten long before the final whistle. When Young added the fourth from the penalty spot after being brought down following a dazzling run down the left, it only summed up the difference between the two sides. It was as clear a penalty as you'll ever see, though for some reason, VAR still decided to have a look. Everyone in the stands could see it was Stonewall. Thankfully, justice prevailed, and Celtic walked away with a comfortable 4-0 victory, the kind of result that restores confidence and keeps momentum heading into the break. Under Martin O'Neill, there's a growing sense of belief again. 3 wins from 4 matches, including that massive victory over Rangers in the Cup, show a pattern of consistency that was missing earlier in the season. The team looks sharper, more cohesive, and more mentally tough. Under the previous manager, matches like this one could easily have turned into frustrating draws, slow starts, missed chances, and that feeling of uncertainty. But this new version of Celtic under O'Neill doesn't seem to hesitate. They go for it early, kill the game quickly, and manage the tempo with maturity. Even though the disappointment in Europe still lingers, it feels like the squad has moved on. There was genuine frustration after that midweek collapse. Goals conceded far too easily, mistakes that could have been avoided. But O'Neill's calm influence has steadied the ship. He's made it clear that while European results hurt, the domestic campaign remains the priority. The focus now is on cutting the gap at the top, and with a game in hand and the lead reduced to 7 points, there's every reason for optimism heading into the international break. Still, the injury situation is a concern. Marcelo Serra went off looking uncomfortable with what appears to be another hamstring issue. It's worrying because that list of players dealing with similar problems keeps growing. Alistair Johnston and Callum Osmond are both heading for surgery and will be sidelined for quite some time. Losing that kind of experience and leadership is a blow, especially with several tough away fixtures coming after the break. It's been a relentless stretch for the squad, and the break couldn't come at a better time. The hope now is that no more players pick up knocks while away on international duty. Despite the setbacks, there's no panic in the camp. The players are buying into O'Neill's approach. There's a renewed sense of belief and togetherness that had been missing before. You can see it in how they celebrate goals, how they support one another after mistakes, and how they manage the rhythm of the match. Even the body language feels different, lighter, freer. Luke Macau mentioned after the game that the training staff have brought back positivity and confidence to the group, and that belief is translating directly onto the pitch. The starting lineup against Kilmarnock reflected some of those changes. Schmeichel was in goal, steady as always, and we saw Simpson Pugh make his debut, surprisingly out of position at right back. It caught everyone off guard, but to his credit, he handled it well. Maybe not perfect, but confident enough to hold his own. There were some early moments where he struggled to link with Maeda on the flank, but once he settled, he looked composed and started to contribute going forward. You could see flashes of what he's capable of. O'Neill even joked after the match that he almost considered taking him off after 4 minutes. But in the end, he was pleased with his performance, and the crowd's applause said it all. That mix of old-school honesty and modern pragmatism seems to define Martin O'Neill's second spell in charge. He's not afraid to call things as he sees them. Players know where they stand with him. No sugarcoating, no false praise. And sometimes, that's exactly what's needed in the modern game. A manager who demands accountability, expects effort, and keeps players grounded. You can feel that edge returning to Celtic's play, that intensity and discipline that make them so hard to play against. It's also clear that O'Neill's methods are starting to build character in this squad. The team may still lack depth in certain areas, particularly at fullback, but there's determination in every performance now. Even the younger players are stepping up when given a chance, showing hunger and fight. And that's crucial, especially with the injury list growing. The coming weeks will test Celtic's depth, but if they keep playing with this attitude, they'll be more than ready for what lies ahead. The confidence is back, the fans can feel it, and the players are beginning to believe again. It's not perfect yet, far from it, but the progress is real. The difference in energy, body language, and tempo is visible. The challenge now is to carry this momentum through the break and into the crucial stretch of the season. Every match matters, every point counts, and if Celtic keep playing with this spirit, the title race might start to look a lot more interesting very soon. When the final whistle blew at Celtic Park, there was no wild celebration, no exaggerated reaction, just a sense of satisfaction that the job had been done properly. The fans could finally breathe again after a frustrating European week. This was the response they wanted to see, a side that looked organized, determined, and united under Martin O'Neill's direction. Even though the match didn't demand fireworks, it reminded everyone that Celtics still know how to control games, assert dominance, and take care of business when it matters most. The players left the pitch with calm confidence, the kind that grows stronger when the system finally starts clicking into place. As the discussion turned to individual performances, there was plenty to unpack. Simpson Pugh, making his unexpected start at right back, offered a glimpse into the club's future depth. It wasn't flashy, but it was steady, composed, and professional. The supporters appreciated that, applauding him off the pitch after a strong debut. O'Neill's humor afterward, admitting he nearly took the youngster off after 4 minutes, captured the mix of realism and warmth that defines his management. He knows how to keep his players grounded, yet also how to encourage them to take the next step. That balance between discipline and belief is exactly what Celtic had been missing earlier in the season. The rest of the defense looked comfortable. Scales and Trusty continue to build chemistry at center back, offering the kind of stability that has been hard to come by in recent months. Even when under minimal pressure, they communicated well, stayed compact, and protected Schmeichel effectively. The goalkeeper himself barely had to make a save worth remembering, but when called upon, he did what was required. That calmness spreads through the back line, and for the first time in a while, the team looks like it trusts the structure behind them. In midfield, the trio of McGregor, Hatate, and Macau looked balanced and in control. McGregor's leadership was evident in how he dictated the rhythm, constantly recycling possession and ensuring Celtic maintained their shape. Hatate, on the other hand, added creativity and flair, always looking to break lines and feed the wingers. It's his kind of spark that gives the team unpredictability going forward. Macau, making his first start under O'Neill, provided the engine, covering every blade of grass, pressing relentlessly, and keeping the tempo high. It wasn't the most spectacular midfield display ever, but it was efficient, disciplined, and everything you'd expect from a side managed by Martin O'Neill. Up front, Johnny Kinney once again proved why he's become one of the main talking points in recent weeks. For goals in 4 games under the new manager tell their own story. There's something about the way O'Neill has simplified things for him, giving him confidence to focus on positioning, movement, and instinct. He's not trying to overcomplicate his game. He's just getting into the right spaces and finishing clinically. The fans love that kind of striker, direct, honest, and hungry. With that kind of form, he's quickly becoming an essential piece of the attack. Daisen Maeda also deserves credit for his effort and work rate, though it's clear he's still not quite at his explosive best. There are flashes of the old Daisen, the constant pressing, the aggressive runs, but sometimes his body language suggests frustration. Still, his goal and overall contribution were vital, and maybe this performance can be the turning point to rebuild his rhythm. Yang, on the opposite flank, brought energy and flair, and his penalty was the exclamation point on a dominant afternoon. What stands out about this front line is how they seem to be rediscovering their belief and chemistry, something that was badly lacking earlier in the campaign. Even with all the positives, it's impossible to ignore the injury crisis. Losing players like Alistair Johnston, Callum Osmond, and now possibly Marcelo Serra for extended periods is a nightmare scenario. Hamstring injuries have become far too common, and it's beginning to raise questions about conditioning and training load. O'Neill will need to rely on his medical and fitness staff to get to the bottom of it, but in the meantime, he has to work with what's available. The defense, in particular, will need depth, and recalling a few loanees like Robertson or Welsh might not be out of the question. It's not an ideal situation, but Celtic have been through worse and found ways to adapt. The schedule after the international break will be a true test of this squad's resilience. 3 away matches in a row, tough environments, and limited options at the back mean every player will have to dig deep. But this is where O'Neill's leadership becomes invaluable. He's been through these battles before. He knows how to keep the dressing room steady and focused. His no-nonsense attitude reminds everyone that excuses don't win titles, consistency does. And right now, Celtic's consistency is finally starting to return. You can see the shift not just on the field, but in the mentality. There's more communication, more fight, and more hunger to prove themselves again. O'Neill's message is simple. Control what you can, don't dwell on setbacks, and always play with purpose. That message is clearly resonating. The players who once looked hesitant now move with confidence. The midfield presses with coordination, the defense holds its line with discipline, and the attack strikes with intent. It's the kind of transformation that doesn't happen overnight, but it's happening now, right in front of the supporters' eyes. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. Whispers are swirling around the east end of Glasgow, and this time they carry a distinctly far eastern flavor. Word from Parkhead suggests Celtic have pulled off yet another shrewd bit of business, snapping up Japan's rising fullback sensation, KEITA Kosugi. While the club remains tight-lipped, those close to the deal hint that the ink is already dry, sealing Kosugi's move to the hoops and sending shockwaves through the Scottish Premiership. Kosugi, dubbed the Samurai on the Wing by fans back home, is said to bring a blend of relentless energy, pinpoint crossing, and a warrior's discipline, traits that have already earned him comparisons to Celtic's previous Japanese stars. If true, this could mark yet another chapter in the club's deepening relationship with Asian football, a market the Parkhead hierarchy has been keen to cultivate ever since the arrival of Ange Postecoglou sparked a wave of talent from the J-League. Sources close to the player describe Kosugi as hungry, humble, and fearless, the sort who relishes a crunching tackle as much as a lung-bursting run down the touchline. For Celtic, a side built on attacking verve and tireless work ethic, he could be the missing piece to bolster the squad's defensive depth while injecting fresh dynamism on the right flank. There's already talk among supporters of Kosugi jerseys flying off the shelves in Tokyo and Osaka, as Celtic continue to solidify their status as Scotland's global club. The Japanese connection has not only boosted shirt sales, but also expanded the club's fan base to staggering new heights across Asia, a marketing masterstroke wrapped neatly in footballing logic. Of course, official confirmation is still awaited, and Parkhead has seen plenty of transfer whispers come and go. Yet, this one feels different, the kind of signing that carries both commercial weight and footballing promise. Should Kosugi's move be unveiled soon, it would not just be another signing. It would be a statement. The boys are thinking globally, acting boldly, and once again, leading the way and bringing a touch of the samurai spirit to the Scottish game. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.